Genuinely, it's unbelievable at how slow my computer is for being like an AMD like 7 series or whatever one of those things are.
Yeah.
I've got a 2600 quad super thing. I don't know anymore, dude. It barely runs. I don't know. There's duct tape inside these
Yeah.
days.
Yeah. No, I get it. I
Seriously.
get it.
My I got one of those NVMe. I think that's what they're called. I should remember hard drives, but it didn't come with a screw to screw it down into the
Yeah.
motherboard, right? So I plug it in, and now it's like motherboard's here, and it's just bang, just like
Yeah.
pinging off.
Yeah.
It's like, what do I do with this? So I went and did the only logical thing I could do, and got the greatest tool known to an Irishman, which is electrical tape. I fucking I electrical taped just the end of it down. I was like,
Oh boy. Okay.
so I'm over here. Why does my computer run so slow?
Speaking of hardware, the GPU prices are apparently going down right now.
They're going
Now that,
downtown.
yeah,
Everybody wants a piece of the minor hardware right now. I don't know. What do you think? Like, how bad are the prices?
I have not looked. I just know that Bitcoin has like dropped a third of its value, so people are like, "All right, I'm done with this thing for now."
GPUs have somehow become the price of oil. Like last year, when it was minus $20 a barrel or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
exactly.
it was at like 800 to 1,000. All of a sudden, I was like,
Exactly. That's the number I care about too.
yeah,
Yeah.
fucking complete shock factor to this thing. Yeah, we've had chip shortages for how long now? For
I
two
think yeah, it's
years.
just here forever now.
Before that, we had I don't know if you remember the great optical drive mishap of like 2007, where like a bunch of there was a ton of flooding. I think in Taiwan. I can't remember. Don't ask me where. And a bunch of major manufacturing plants lost all of their stuff, right? And that was,
Yeah.
oh my God. Yeah, you couldn't get a new hard drive. And that was back when they were like 256 gigabytes. And you were like, that's
Yeah.
huge. What?
Chip shortages are like are like COVID. It's just here to stay. It's just part of our culture now.
Well, I'll tell you, man, if you're in the stock markets, you're in that fiat stock, gotta, that's where that's a big place to look at. New innovations, new companies popping up all over the place. New chip manufacturing place in Texas. I think they're trying to do. There's a new company trying to spring up in like the Midwest somewhere as well.
That's
So
good. It's so unsexy to younger people. They just only care about crypto tech. So
yeah, you don't care
yeah,
about the silicon, man. The
exactly.
silicon. You
Yeah,
don't care about 11 nanometers. You don't care at all.
exactly.
That's what drives this whole ship.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, no, seriously. But uh, welcome to the world of gaming this week. Uh, honestly, I tried to catch up this week on some of the dev news or some of the games that had come out or been trailered, but I don't think I got very far with a whole lot of stuff with it.
Takes a lot of time. It does.
Yeah, I got through one. I played one great demo that Hellbender. I put 90 minutes into it. I don't even remember, and it was terrifying. I was so bad. Rhythm first person shooter, with their claim to marketing fame of Serge Tankin doing, and a bunch of other people obviously doing full tracks on the for the game itself. But they have a really nice progression loop in there, like a nice little thing where like the better you are on beat, the more your multiplier goes up, and the more your multiplier goes up, the more the song you get, which I thought
Do
was
you
great.
do you think that added a lot more difficulty to the genre of FPS? Like, was it way harder? Would you say?
No, I think that it's weird because I was trying to think of how this game kind of came about. I think that this is like something that people have penned quite a few times and just been like, yeah, like when I shoot and I shoot to the beat, right? Like that sounds about right. But I think that there is a certain subsect of players that play, these kinds of like fast twitchy shooters with all their music and they think that they're in their own little montage, right? It's 2011 again. It's Call of Duty. It's in this case it's Doom Eternal, but it's people, you know, how people played that game, listening to the the metal music track and just being like, I'm killing demons. I am the savior of everything, or whatever the hell Doom Guy is actually supposed to be. I don't know. A demigod that runs around the place and just kicks butt all day, left, right, and center. It's the ultimate power fantasy, right? But in that game, specifically me, anyway, like, I play it with Iron Maiden. I play it with Slayer. I'm listening to Raining Blood, the entire album, while I'm playing, and I am just running around the place destroying demons hellspawn. And I
That
feel
is a
so powerful, and I love it. But do I
that
play to
is
the beat? Kinda. Sometimes I jump up and, like, on the crescendo moments, and I'll just like.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is a hell of an elevator pitch when you put it that way. And it's kind of like when you say that. Now I haven't played the game, so I'm just kind of guessing what it's like. Um, I was wondering if like this elevator pitch and theme matches what actually happens.
It's harder. Like, I couldn't and I tell you honestly, because some of the metal music is different, right? And I don't know if I caught this. I don't know if this even happened. I couldn't even perceive it. But the beats shifts. So sometimes it's a 4/4, depending on where you are in the song, and sometimes it's like more 16th notes. So it's like sometimes it's actually better that, like, you can get all your perfects with your sword because you're on the 16th notes and you can click 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 click, and the other times you're on the 4, so you want to use your, like, dual pistols. So it tries to, like, move you around that way, I think. But what I didn't have was all of the bells and whistles that Doom Eternal has, like, in terms of that. Like, I have this array of weapons in both games, but there's a reason for me to use one weapon, and it's very clear in this game, and it's not very clear in the other game. It wasn't very clear. So I just kept picking the same one and just being
Yeah.
like, I need to master this. Because, like, I'm not even focused on the enemies now. I'm not focused on anything. I'm literally just focused on listening to the song and clicking to the beat. That's all I care about. And funnily enough, there's a flow state that you get within these both games for me, right? Doom Eternal, when I have that moment of I am in the song works for my battle environment, I'm jumping around the place, I'm like, like, I'm wrecking it, right? Everything kind of calms down. I work better when I'm calm because I can recognize the battlefield. I can pay attention to which way I need to go. I know which ways the enemies are moving. I can kite them around the place nicely. And when I'm not calm, I panic. And when I panic, I dash into enemies, or I don't keep moving, or I try to get that one shot off and I completely whiff it, and I'm not elegant. I'm not flowing. I'm not moving at all. And you get into that state in Doom Eternal, but I go way deeper with the rhythm stuff, because as soon as I
Oh,
had to go and do the rhythm part, I had to calm my whole self down. I had to really, like, new game, new game, new game. Forget the enemies are even there. Forget that death is coming for you. Forget that if you mess up here, they can swallow you and you'll just die, or you're going to lose your multiplier, or you're going to lose anything else. I had to just be very cognizant of aim for the head, shoot for the head. Listen to the music, aim for the head, shoot for the head. And really get into that cadence of keep moving, don't die. How do I time the reload with my rhythm? And it's so funny at how much of the world and everything else just kind of just went away. I was very at peace, and a lot more so than where I am with Doom Eternal. And that was a big interesting thing for me. But it definitely led me to, like, okay, the rest of the game doesn't need to exist. Like, I just want to, I could just do this. Like, like, that's all I need.
yeah,
Because in my mind, like, literally, I would just shut it all down and nothing else. There was nothing else. It
yeah.
was just the the one enemy I'm trying to hit, and when's the next note that I need to get there on. Um,
I think that's a super interesting review, and it's actually a topic that I I've been trying to think about a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But first off, before I talk about that, is that what I didn't expect was that you would also get into flow state with the rhythm shooter, because I kind of assumed that it would be like too much to think about and that you can't just get into the mode of shooting. But it sounds like you basically got to the flow state, but for a different reason than the FPS one.
Yeah, you could throw away everything. You didn't. I don't need. Didn't need to be anywhere else. I could have just been playing any old game, but the act of doing that action is what kept me there, which I thought was cool.
Totally. How well do you think the game will do? Give me the how many
It's
reviews do you think you'll
Dude,
have in like a couple months?
I think it's gonna do great. Like, I mean, look, there's a lot of metalheads. Let's be honest here. Metal hasn't died, right? It's just gone blacker at this point. Like deeper metal, right? And I think that the people who see this are gonna want to play it because of the names for the bands that are playing. It's a lot of big ones for sure.
Oh,
And that's what got me into the thing of like where did this game come from? I'm very curious to see that. There must be some devlog about it, but like, did the game come first, or did the pitch come first? Because I'm also not sure like who's really funding it. Because the game itself, like visually, art directionally, I'm like, look, it's okay. Main character's cool as. I don't think the lighting is very good. It seems very like it's on the, I don't know. It just doesn't. The quality bar on the art side is not there, but it's an early demo. But I think that they've kind of set a direction, and yeah, sure they can, do a lot more stuff. But the licensing deals by themselves to get the band people to write the music or even just play their own songs, like that's a massive challenge in itself. So I'm very curious to see like where did that come from, and yeah, did the game come first? Did somebody pitch it?
so there is a game. It's called BPM Bullets Per Minute, and
Okay.
that was the first successful rhythm FPS that I know of. It did. It has like 7,000 reviews and estimated revenue of like 2.5 million.
Oh wow.
So I guess I'm guessing people are like, "Hey, here's my elevator pitch. We're gonna make a game like this, but even better.
Oh
And
yeah.
here's how much money they made."
Tell you again how uninformed I am, but like the biggest thing is if you haven't seen it, the trend of ice, what I mean, the trend of Doom style FPS games, retro FPS coming way back,
Yes,
right?
yes,
I
boomer shooters. We'll
saw
call them.
yes, I saw like I don't know, 10 different
Yeah,
10 different demos, and I definitely downloaded a
yeah.
couple of them. I got the James Bond one, right? The Nintendo
Oh, I didn't
64.
know they had a demo for that.
Yeah, Agent 64, Spies Never
Yeah,
Die.
such a funny name, Agent 64. That's genius.
Is it, oh, because of the level?
Uh, Well, I was thinking N64 is like,
Oh,
hey, we're N64 and GoldenEye.
there's a level in GoldenEye, right? Or that's called Agent something something. And
Oh, okay.
that's
I played more Perfect Dark than GoldenEye myself.
okay. I've watched a couple of the speedruns and they're pretty entertaining. Just people like looking at walls like this, like
Yeah.
they're shooting it at random points. You're
Yep.
like, this changes the hex value, and this will be like you fucking
Yeah, man.
nerds.
There's definitely a ton of those games. I do know people that love that style of game. It's kind of like, especially when it's like Hotline Miami
Yeah,
speed, so kind of like Doom Eternal, but a bit faster. So yeah, it's definitely like.
I'm a huge fan of them, so I'm definitely gonna try and grab a couple more. But honestly, my time has been taken a little bit by me treating myself for a minute.
Oh, that's good. Oh, okay, okay. What game? Okay. Oh, is that a new Switch?
I have never owned a Nintendo console in my
Nice.
entire life.
Nice. Yeah.
I've never completed a Nintendo game properly. I've obviously played a bunch of the Marios, but I've never been able to sit down and like really go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I finally broke down and bought myself a Switch, and my friend gave me Breath of the Wild, and I've never.
I have
Never
not
played.
played that like out of all the Switch games. That's the only one I want to play,
Well,
or most interested in rather.
well, here's my anxiety about all of this, right? Because I have had this whole gall about the fucking Switch since the bloody thing came out. Well, I always thought it was cool as when it came out, but for like the last while, what games are on this console?
Yeah, yeah.
One, that are worth playing, but two, like I don't feel like the catalog has changed. I'm looking in the stores, I'm like, great, we got Mario Odyssey, and then we got a re-release of two other games, and then I got Stardew Valley again. It's like,
Yeah.
I got another Pokemon game. Alright, cool, you know what I mean? Like, so I was sitting there and I'm like, what? I'm in the store. I want to buy this console, but like I knew I wanted to play Breath of the Wild. That was obviously the big one, but I'm looking around. I'm like, what excites me over here? And nothing gripped me at all. And
Totally
I was
agree.
kind of disappointed in that sense. But there's a game for it that is supposed to be for like a toolbox for making games.
What?
Yeah. Let me see if I can look it up real quick. But I've always thought that the Switch is such a cool platform. I'm just like, why? Like, why don't they showcase? Like, I know that there's a ton of indie games on this thing, but it's all in the store. It's all locked away, and I just wish that they would promote these things a little bit more.
Yeah. I
But
think.
you got to promote your flagships, I guess. You know?
Yeah, I don't watch the Nintendo Directs like directly. I usually just hear the news about it, but maybe they highlight the indie stuff there. I'm definitely not sure on that one.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it. Game Builder Garage.
In the meantime, I'll talk about I guess the only recent titles I know of. The new Wii Sports or whatever, the new
Mhm.
I don't know what they call it, Nintendo Sports, came out recently, and then otherwise it's the Pokemon games. Those are kind of the only recent ones that I am aware of.
But is there much, like difference in the Pokemon games? Like, you know
I
what I
don't think
mean?
there are. I
Is
don't
it
think
just
there are.
Pokemon?
It usually is.
Just a new gen of characters? Or maybe
Yeah.
even not a new gen of characters?
Yeah, I mean there is the other one, the spin-off that came out, which is more open world. But other than that, it still is a bit of the same formula. I have
Hey,
not heard of anybody that talked about Game Builder Garage like ever. So I'm not
yeah,
sure how many people are using it.
yeah. No, I feel bad. Look, this is the thing. Is forever I've called this thing like just like a bigger Game Boy. It's like if you want to go back to being a child, like you just want to stay in that state, like just yeah, get this because like yeah, you'll play the same thing for forever.
Yeah,
Like you know what I mean? With the same characters and you'll be happy, right?
yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad to have it, but genuinely it took me 3 days to even go and set the damn thing up.
See, the thing about it is, it is a unique platform. Like you have,
With
like
the
just the
nunchucks and
controllers and
everything,
everything. Yeah, so it should be able to breed a lot more unique innovation. But yeah, as far as I know, people aren't really moving in that direction at all.
yeah. Yeah, sure, they don't need to at least. But tell me more. So, are you going to your mystery game tournament stuff this week? Is that going on this weekend?
So yeah, this is actually a bit related to what you said about the FPS thing.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been more active in the fighting game community lately, and so when I played, I was playing like Street Fighter and like the anime fighters, and then I took like a 6 year break,
Mm-hmm.
and now everyone plays Tekken, which is really bizarre because it's an older game than everything else. So I was like, okay, well, guess I'll learn Tekken. And here's the thing, that relates to what you said. What the game advertises itself to be is almost completely different than what it actually plays out to be. So that's kind of a topic
Okay.
that I
In Tekken?
yes.
Huh.
So I mean in Tekken, it's kind of like what you said. Okay, so with the FPS, I forgot what it was called. Um,
Metal Hellbringer.
Metal Hellbringer.
Good game. Played 90 minutes of it. Went through the campaign twice. Great beta loop. One level, timed runs, global leaderboard. And it gets you to go and say, go to the top. Play this and get as many points and do as good as possible. So if you don't have a lot of content, they have one level. And people are playing it on repeat because they want to beat people on the global leaderboards. So invest a little bit in a tiny bit of server tech up front to send 1 kilobit of a file. It's pretty cool.
Okay. So I haven't seen the trailer, but I am guessing is pretty much like the elevator pitch you said. The buyer goes onto a store page and like, oh man, all my favorite bands. This game's gonna be like Doom Eternal, but even more music. I'm just gonna be like totally in the zone with music blaring everywhere.
Yeah, X statements.
Yeah, yeah. So but you know, I've played a lot of rhythm games, and I know that rhythm games are also, when you actually play them, they can be kind of limiting
Hmm.
in what you do. Once you get good at them, you get into the flow state. But it's like, I don't know. It's just a very different experience than what is initially advertised.
Hmm.
So
Actually, I'll give you that. So
yeah.
I'm pathetic at this game. I played for quite a while and tried to really get it. I don't think I stuck in the X16 state and actually got the vocals for more than probably a minute out of that
Yeah, yeah.
entire 90-minute section.
Yeah.
So how much of the song did I really hear? Right? And
Yeah.
I was trying desperately to get up there. That's why I was in like that gamer mode. Calm
Right.
it down. Aim for the head. Keep clicking the button at the right time. Like really trying. And I couldn't get there. I couldn't get there. So other
Do you?
real gamers will get there and they'll probably hear it. But there's two major things here though too. One, I didn't really hear the songs of the product, which tried to push me to move up or go down in difficulty, and going down in difficulty is a bad feeling for me.
Yeah.
But going up in skill, I'd have to sit there and really master the controls,
Yeah.
and that's probably a good thing, right? The other side of this too, if I don't like the music or I don't like the tracks or I want to like play it and listen to my own music, I don't know if I can do that.
Absolutely.
Right? So if I already play all of these that type of game and I have my playlist for that and I'm that niche and I'm the buyer, then maybe I don't want to listen to all of those tracks. And like what happens if I'm not ready to listen to an album, to like listen to their album right
Right.
now? Like do I just not play the game?
Do you think there are a lot of people that would buy the game, getting hooked by the hook, and then just be like, "Oh crap, I'm gonna gotta refund this. This isn't what I expected." Or do you think it's close enough to theme mechanic match?
No, I think it's right. I think people will they will refund based off of the mastery of having to like not being able to just freely shoot. Like you have to do, the only way to progress, the only way to get the score is to use the systems in front of you. So you got to get the rhythm right.
Okay.
And if you feel like that's frustrating, if like let's say you're a younger player, right? You might not have the tolerance for that. You might not care for that. You might get overwhelmed by the things are coming at me, but I'm constrained by my own limitations. Like the game is forcing me to feel that way, and then I don't get the reward payoff of the song getting louder and more layers being added in. Do I just become frustrated and zone out at the very start? I would say like that definitely could happen. Again, like the art style, I don't think stands up to the quality bar that they want to be at, but more content versus making the game prettier is going to be the goal, probably the goal, so I would say that it works out, but there is definitely going to be some people who are going to be like, I can't get over this point, right? The rhythm point is going to be that area of failure. But
Yeah.
again, like I feel like the people who are playing these things have an appreciation for music and appreciation for these types of things, so they're on par. Like it's just that it is like talk about driving for a wedge. You know, most people are like, hey, like I need this funnel. This is like they're really trying to fit this in for, you know, a group of people, and I
Okay,
appreciate that. You know, it's they know who their audience is, and they're going for the for that group. I
got
think.
you.
But the X
Okay,
statement's pretty. Yeah, I think the X statement's pretty good for it. Look,
uh,
I wish them luck in the future. They had the top number one slot featuring on the
oh,
store, you know, so I would not doubt that they're going to be a breakout hit for
okay,
sure.
okay, that's good. Yeah, so the thing I wanted to basically get at is that theme and mechanics don't. I mean, they definitely don't line up. We kind of know that. Like the trailers we see for games,
Hmm.
don't exactly line up with the promise. So, for example, I'll talk about Tekken. So Tekken, it's a fighting game. There's a lot of crazy demons and bears and everything fighting, and you buy the game because you're like, oh man, I just want to. I'm gonna bash heads in as soon as I get in. And actually, the gameplay does kind of match that at low level.
Hmm.
The game is extremely mashable, and if you're playing against friends that are at your level, you're gonna get that fantasy of just like having fun beating each other's heads in.
Yeah, it's 1998 again. I'm sitting on my mate's couch. We're playing PS1.
Yeah, there you go. So the thing is, like, when it comes to designing mechanics, if you just match your theme, it might not be the best route. And what I mean by that is that some mechanics live longer than others.
Hmm.
So let's just say you have a really appealing theme and trailer, and then your game completely lines up with that, you could be in trouble. For example, let's take those fake ads on mobile
Yeah.
where you pull the key. Um, Now they do have games like that, but the problem with that mechanic is it's super content heavy, right? You're designing very specific puzzles, and you're gonna kill yourself as a developer. So you develop a mechanic that's different than your trailers, or to a degree. To tie it back to Tekken, so what Tekken actually is at a high level, it is, and I'm only understanding this now that I'm playing it at a high level.
Okay.
It is a game of memorization, actually. It's a there's so many moves to remember and so many characters, and
Hmm.
you need to remember. Oh, when this guy does a little punch and a little knee, I'm supposed to punish that because it's -12 with this very specific move. You, this is
Oh.
a gigantic, very wide if-then statement branch where
Right.
everyone, so at mid-level, everyone's testing your knowledge. They're called knowledge checks. It's like, is this guy gonna punish me? I'm gonna try this move. Oh, he's not. I'm gonna keep doing it. Like, um,
So, do they have these mapped out? Please
so,
tell me somebody has mapped out that decision tree. Like, that would be
well,
cool
yeah,
as to see. Like, if I give you this, then
yeah,
here's.
kind of they do. Like, that's the frame data. You're supposed to memorize all the frame data and what you're supposed to do in the situation. And real quick side note, Namco sold frame data as DLC, so that you could see it. Yeah, this was controversial. It was $4 so that you
Bring
could
that
see.
up. Send me a link to that. I
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
see that. That's
absolutely.
insane. What does that look like?
Yeah, yeah. Let me bring that up real quick.
That's so funny. Dude, so in between like chess, like if I'm gonna, you know, but the biggest rock paper scissors shotgun.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know, like
That's exactly how it is. Actually, click on that and take a look at the reviews. Uh, in terms of positive versus negative reviews.
positive versus the negatives. Let's see what we got here. Oh dear.
Yeah, this a lot of modern games give this out for free, where you when you punch in game, it tells you, hey, this was -10 or whatever.
But what does it mean that it's -10? So is that
So okay, yeah. So if you're clicking on the first screenshot,
frame advantage? So how many frames that you can get your attack off in?
yeah. Well, first off, are you looking at that first screenshot where
Yeah.
it has the number?
Yeah.
Okay, so Heihachi is doing a move that is -12. That means the other character can move 12 frames before Heihachi can move, which means he can sneak in a 12 frame punish.
Okay.
Uh, if they both jump at the same time, the right character will jump 12 frames before the first one. It's one easy way to visualize it.
Okay. Please tell me somebody has just hacked this in though.
Oh,
Like
actually,
there
I don't
must be
know.
people who have just like been like, fuck this, like crack, like the hell with that,
Yeah, yeah,
like it's in the
it's very
game.
likely.
Oh.
So, kind of what I want to get about this is that, numbers wise,
Mm-hmm.
Tekken has really had a lot of longevity. In fact, I think pound for pound, it has actually more long term longevity than any other fighting game. Uh,
Is it that much different? So in that case, like you say that it is a game of memorization. I would say that both of the games are like that. You know, any aspect of high level is about that high level strategy, but um, Street Fighter, like what's how deep are the move sets comparatively?
yeah, exactly. I would say like a typical 2D fighter has roughly like 20 moves a character,
Okay,
and Tekken has around 80 to 90. And
worthwhile.
no. It is this bizarre thing where you can envision it like a pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
When you first start out playing, just about all the moves are viable because nobody knows how to play down there. But then as you go to, yeah, exactly.
Imagine
Once you get towards the top and people are memorizing how to counter all these, it definitely narrows quite a bit
like the
to
shortest frame.
yeah, to 15, 10, 15 moves, just a neutral. But I guess I want to tell you my experience I'm an intermediate right now.
Okay.
Um, and the game is very fun because every session I'm learning a lot.
Okay.
Um, so what I'm trying to get at is that I think they have a gameplay mechanic that works for long term play. Because when I play other games, I do quickly reach mastery levels a
And you're
lot
and you're
faster.
playing online
Yeah,
against like real people.
yeah, online and offline.
Okay.
So it's a longer mastery road because the road is full of memorization speed bumps. And I don't know if I got my point across. Where this is a game that advertises a cool, mashable fighting experience, but the mechanics ended up having a lot of long term retention.
Okay, and it's just because you have to memorize it in order to do
Yeah,
it. So that's your mastery curve.
yeah,
When
and
did when
nobody
did you
knows that getting into the game.
yeah when do you feel that peak? Because the thing is like there's two major things that I see, right? Like which is like one, nobody's doing that. you fucking
Yeah,
you
yeah,
fucking psychopath.
yeah. No, totally true.
Not a chance in the world. Sitting there staring at a fight sheet. Um, and two, the I think one thing is this perceived, but two, it's like online servers um in Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, I think Street Fighter 5, right? It's like probably not the newest one nowadays, but I remember they used to have so many problems with players being able to connect to other players because the player bases online were quite dead. Most
Yeah,
players on the top level were the only people who were really playing, and they were inviting each other to private lobbies because the matchmaking was like super fucked.
yeah.
Um, which completely deadened out the community, which meant that the health of the game collapsed, and overall, like all practice went back to private. Like it went back to kind of like the old days of I'm just gonna play with my friends and I'm not gonna challenge myself against the world. So
By the way, I love that you know all this, even though you're not even like a hardcore fighting game player. You're completely accurate.
I played that game back then. I tried desperately. That was my resurgence after Street Fighter 2. But I was a
Yeah.
Tekken kid, so I
Oh,
played
okay. Yeah.
Tekken Tag Team Tournament, and played through all the bowling that you could do in some of those games.
Yeah, so you probably fought all the pros then, which is why you have your
Oh god, I have no idea.
perception of. Well, I mean, it sounds like you were getting your ass beat in
Oh yeah.
Street Fighter. Yeah.
Do you, do you hear how me and my friends played fighting games? So
Oh,
think of this as a PlayStation controller, all right?
yeah.
I absolutely shit you not. We would sit there and the pro strat, like some people would have their coat. I went like this, and I held it. And I went,
That's amazing.
that's how I played the game. I just fucking did this. Not a clue.
Yeah.
Not a clue at all. Won a lot of won a lot of campaigns that way, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
terrifyingly bad. It always leads me to think of like how hard people will go against the grain to not learn something,
Yeah.
right?
And you know what? I mean, you're right. I wasn't talking about that element, but yes, that's a huge element, which is give the casual player something to do because they're not gonna be studying the frame data, and that's no.
I'm the child in the corner. Give me the safety thing.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm like he keeps bashing it just directly against his face. Like we can't give him anything sharp, nothing hard. Like they just give me a
Amazing.
foam paddle.
Yeah, I harp on accessibility more than most people I know. In fact, sometimes I would say it seems like I'm like I harp on it more than like almost everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not even talking about it from a market point of view, which a lot of people, especially like product managers, kind of
Mhm.
look. They're like, hey, we can earn 10 million more if we do this.
Ups.
Yeah,
Yep.
but like I've just personally I've been to so many gaming gatherings and interacted with so many people. I just know it's unfun when only one person knows how to play a game and everyone else sucks. I mean, it's just like I'm sure we've both had those experiences.
That definitely, yeah, it definitely is. Like you try and you can try for a minute, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll test myself. We'll see what happens, and I will talk the biggest amount of poop, like up until that point where then it's the lose screen, and I'm like, yeah, well, sun was in my eyes, but yeah, it's never. It's fun to see people be good at a game, though. I feel
Yeah,
like.
definitely.
Because I mean, look, the reality is these days I'm not able to sink the time that I could, right? Like, and yeah, I could get good at that game, but what am I taking away from all of the other aspects of life and everything else that I'm doing? I don't have that value proposition anymore. It just doesn't mean anything that much to me anymore.
Right.
Even though every single time World of Warcraft comes out with a new expansion, I keep saying to myself, "I was like, I could do it. I
Trying to
can
be
do
a
it.
top guild.
I can do it. Like I can go back to that life. I can absolutely do it.
Yeah.
And I relish in the idea of being in a top guild again and really spreadsheeting out and really redefining a character and making it cool. But
Yes.
it it is a hard thing, but it's the same. It's the same thing as the Hellbringer game, right? When we're talking about now like fighting games as a niche versus, this retro FPS versus, you know, versus rhythm FPS, right? Mobile has had this idea of M&A, right? Mergers and acquisitions,
Yeah.
but we were only having consolidation after a major period of fragmentation. So as game genres got very popular and we got all of our big circles with yearly, quarterly numbers, and people look at those things and then they start putting things together. So then we start getting, well, now it's not just match 3, it's match and decorate. It's not just match 3, it's matching RPG character
Exactly.
corrector, right? And that's fine, and you can do that, and it's really broad, and that's why I say like it's much more of an open funnel, but trying to like catch two different circles now,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
in these other games on PC, these are very narrow wedges these days.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You
Good
know,
point, man.
Hellbringer is like, I'm making this for people who care about FPS games and metal music and wanna and like rhythm games. Maybe they're drummers, maybe they play guitar. It's like I'm making this for all the headbangers out there. Like that's class. That's awesome. And they're gonna hope find success that way because they know who they're going for and they're aiming for it. They're not gonna probably have to do a whole lot of, marketing, major marketing. They
Totally.
probably send it out to the people that they have and say like, here it is. Street Fighter, like fighting game community, is its own beast. If you go into that, you're a psychopath. I still feel like people are crazy throwing controllers. I love it. Bring it back. It reminds me of the days when people were screaming across
Yeah.
computers, be like, "You fucking suck! Get the fuck out of my land, dude!" Like these were great days, and now it's all like, good game, good game.
Yeah, yeah,
Look,
yeah.
I'm okay with that. The StarCraft community did a good job there, but like, yeah, I do love a little bit of poop talk. But I would still say fighting games is a huge niche. So like, who's making the next Tekken, and why is that going to be successful? It's a game that most people probably don't even know how many titles there are of that, and how well that franchise has really done over the years. Like, so I guess the thing here is like where, I don't know. I mean, it's two different sides of the marketing coin, right? Like, do you make the thing for your people and try to find that audience and go straight to them, or make your own audience and make your own community, like any content creator, anybody who's trying to do, or do you try to subsect and kind of bleed out to the major audiences and try to attach that way? But I don't know. It's three different types of funnels, I guess.
Definitely. I'll definitely I'll agree that you can have way more niche games than 5 years ago.
Hmm.
People will find them. Even if you just have a small little Discord out there, you will find attention. Actually, did we talk about Backpack Hero?
No, no, we didn't.
Okay, there's this little game. It's called Backpack Hero. It's a game where all you do is manage your bag space. Well, not all. Yeah, it's a combination of let's just say Slay the Spire. It's kind of a deck builder, but
Yeah,
you're building your bag, your inventory bag. So super niche concept.
yeah.
All they put it on itch, and I just heard about it because it was pure word of mouth. I went to the Discord, and they had a ton of people.
Hmm.
They had a Kickstarter that they funneled everyone into, and bam, they have the game. I'll link it to you actually.
That's sick. Yeah, like, isn't that a cool thing though? Abstract the major game down to the one. Like, can you find
Find the fun.
the game element within all of it? Right. So I'm doing all of this is a study of play, right? Like, studying why we play, what the purpose of play is, how do we play, what's the rules behind it.
Agreed.
And a big thing that people forget is that play in everyday life and in everything is is only there if you can construct the rule set around it. So when I take a pen, in this case it's a lighter, and I flick it around and I create that kind of pattern, that rule, I get good at it. Maybe I'm gonna throw it and I'm gonna throw it up into the air a little bit. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna like flick it against my arm and I'm gonna catch it, right? That's me playing. It's me creating a rule set. It's me giving value and saying, oh well, what move's cooler than the other? Where can I push myself? How do I get more mastery here? Like, I'm playing. So playing with your inventory in the same way that you do in Escape from Tarkov. How fast can I loot? How quickly, in Apex Legends, how
Yeah.
quickly I can get the best gear, how quickly I can itemize all of my things. I can recognize that pattern, throw it down. That's you playing. That's you setting your own rule set for what you value within that core, and being able to pattern recognize and saying, that's how I get to this. And there's a level of play and fun within that mechanic that people throw out the window as being not a thing. and not recognizing that as like, hey, that piece can be fun.
Right, right.
And I love that idea. And like to take any of your stuff like the fishing games, right? What if it was just the throwing of the reel out? It's not even
Exactly.
catching fish. It's
Yeah.
just how fucking wow, like how far can you get it? Can you get it through a hoop? Like I don't know. You know what I mean? Can you catch?
Actually, can I jump in with an
Go go
example?
go go go!
I
Yeah.
like to use this as a.
Please
This is my
stop. I'm
favorite.
ramble. I
Oh yeah,
ramble
no, no,
crazy.
no. This is one of my favorite personal examples. When you think about throwing, just say throwing a ball
Hmm.
or throwing an apple, whatever. That is like not terribly fun unless you're like a little kid. Um, but as soon as you put like a rule or a constraint, can you throw this ball and hit the stop sign 50 feet away? Uh, it becomes fun like almost immediately.
Becomes a
And
pissing contest with your boys.
yeah, yeah.
Fucking
So it's like
$50, you hit that stop sign. It's like you
yeah.
can't do it.
Yeah, if you want to go with like Raph Custer's theory of fun, like throwing a ball, we've mastered. We all know how to throw a ball, or we think we do.
Uh,
But then, yeah, throwing it and hitting a stop sign is like, oh man, I have no idea how to do this. Let's get better at it.
yeah. I love that. Drilling down into that niche then too, but it's really cross community. I got to play that game. So why why haven't you done this?
You know,
Why doesn't this work for everybody? Is it just this is a case of good game speaks good game, which happens. Good games are just, you put them out there, and if they're genuinely a good game with a great concept, cool little art style, they'll do fine. And that's kind of like, it's lightning in a bottle, right? But you can find it if you can find that niche and hit upon that thing and action upon it and build it. But it's not always the case. By all means, sometimes you do have to kind of convince people a little bit within that store page or within your marketing or something that like, hey, I am worth your time or your $10 or whatever it is.
that is a great question. And one of the reasons I didn't go down this road is because so something happened basically within this past year,
Hmm.
which is cheaper games with like less content have become a lot more viable. I had not, in fact, before a year ago, I had not seen a game work at a $3 price point. But now you have these games like Vampire Survivor, or there's a game called Snicker X, which is or Snicker X. It's Snake, but an auto battler.
Yeah, radar or it's just green one screen. Uh,
Oh,
jet fighter thing, $3 to $5, I think.
yeah, yeah, exactly. They're $3 games, and they just get millions of sales. And before, personally, if I saw a $3 game, I would be that's shovelware. But for some reason, I don't know why. I don't know if the algorithm has gotten better. I don't see shovelware
Mm.
very much. Have you? What do you think? Like,
No, it's the same thing. I see it too. I think that it's a cost of scale. The speed at which these people can take a concept, drill down into that concept, and get you a 20 to 30 minute cool experience out for less than a coffee these days, because a coffee is now $4.85 in
yeah,
certain places, um, is an amazing feat. And the thing is if you are one or two people doing it, chances are you're just doing it yourselves. You're not spending the budget on anything else. You're probably done in 4 to 6 months, maybe 8 at the max. Is probably about the most time I would ever spend
yeah,
on something like that without, really increasing the price point past $5.
exactly,
But,
exactly.
don't make it a big game. Just get one concept and drill it down. And when you have that, like, dude, these guys are making like a yearly revenue in one game, right? Like, it's success is not $1 million. This is why I keep, it bugs the shit out of me that in the mobile industry, like, success is monetization. It's how much money you make. It's how much bread comes in. But like, if you could make $80,000 off of something that one or two people made in a couple of months, and it's always on the market, and then it'll have a tail, like, that's great, dude. That's more than what most people make in America a year. And guess what? You did it off the back of yourself, and it's always there. You know,
Yep.
it'll always have a trickle, especially if it's a good game. And then you can just go off and take that financial freedom and make another thing, right? And
Or a bigger game. Maybe
or a
have more
bigger
money.
game, or do you make is actually do you think that making a bigger game after having a platform of small games is a fallacy?
I think so. I think so.
I think you don't I don't know if it's like don't mess with the formula. But I guess when do you take that big step at making a bigger game when you're trying to build up from those sides? But like I don't know, do you build 3 or 4 smaller games? Like if you let's say you hit if you hit on those 299 games, what do? Oh my god, I just made $10,000 in a month on itch. Well, you know what I mean? In your mind, like it's go ball go. You know, what do?
Yeah,
Or
you
fall
know,
ball fall. My
it,
bad.
exactly. Um, yeah, obviously everyone has different preferences, and most devs tend to have a big dream game idea. So I often see, people go straight for that, like as soon as they hit a smaller success. So I, you just got to be careful. A lot of people get caught into the trap of making a bigger game and then kind of getting stuck in it. So it is a call that each dev should make. I do want to really quickly touch on just this whole genre of cheap replayable games.
Yeah.
Is they have one common element, which is the replayability,
Mm.
and in fact, I think every single one of them are roguelikes or have roguelike features of giving a lot of progress. And when you give a lot of progress in a game, you tend to have to reset it, which is why you die and then you start over, try a different build. If a game comes out that's not a roguelike, that's a $3 game and successful, I'd be interested in seeing it. But I don't think I've seen anything but roguelikes
Mm.
that has succeeded in this realm.
Yeah, I don't
Do
know.
you think it's possible to do it without roguelike?
Oh,
Because
I definitely think it
I
is.
think
I don't know. I definitely think it is. I've played a couple of these games that like I would have spent I
yeah
guess the $2 on, and it really is just kind of a linear experience. But the story that they're telling, the really the thing that they're trying to drive through, like rung true, and you were just like, okay, cool. Like I'm satisfied at the end of this, and
yeah
that was worthwhile. It's like okay, here's $2, right? You know what I mean? You tip,
okay yeah
you know, but those are usually
I
donate
think
ones. You know, they're not. I'm not.
yeah
It's pay
exactly.
whatever you want type of thing, uh, and you're
I
not
think there's a
making
couple of
bucks.
components. Yeah, I think there's a couple components that are really key here. So usually, a streamer like Northern Lion will play these games and just stream it for weeks with tens of thousands of viewers. And
Hmm.
yeah, the replayability and it's like, what crazy builds he gonna do next? Definitely gets a lot of viewer interest. And the other thing, which is why I think people will have to stick to roguelike for a while, is they see $3, they scroll down and they see like so many I'm sorry, comments that have like 300 hours, and they're
Hmm.
like, "Wow, $3 for 300 hours of content, man! I'm gonna buy this." I think that's pretty key.
If people are getting that and it's worth their time, that's phenomenal. I don't pay attention to that. The amount of
Yeah, interesting.
hours of gameplay, like I've never paid attention to that personally.
Oh,
Um,
very interesting.
yeah, it doesn't. It never bugged me. It's just like, okay, do I think I'm going to enjoy this game? Didn't matter how long it was. Like,
Right.
yeah, like am I going to enjoy it? And then you know,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. By the way.
yeah, and we'll see. You know what I mean? I think that it's nice to see new emerging models of this stuff because, like, lastly, it kind of like leads me into this. There was a question that was posed on the r/game dev um, Reddit page. Never gonna come up as a no. The question is game dev communities with less of a focus on the business side. I like making and thinking about games, but I'm not so bothered about the business side of it. And like this sub seems to be like how much money it'll make, mistakes to avoid, what are my potential audiences, etc., etc. So all the bullshit that I whine on about. Are there communities that are just more focused on just the crafting experience of making games? And this question kind of floored me because I was like, oh, yeah. Games are supposed to be fun, right? Like what happened to just like
Sure, sure.
talking about game mechanics and just like is the game fun? Like is it fun to play? And can I
Yeah.
play something entertaining? Um, and how do we make entertaining mechanics? I think these are these are these are things that for obviously for a different time, but I focus way hard on okay, we're gonna build this game, and I know it's gonna make some money because I've positioned it within this area, right? It's got these mechanics. It's focused on this art style that works well with this audience genre, blah blah blah. And I piece together that pattern of these are the pieces that I'm gonna put together to like make my core loop and run everything together. And I'm not able to like make I don't always think about how fun is this really going to be? Or how do I actually
Sure.
make this mechanic as fun as possible? And I I don't know if I've forgotten how to talk about that. I don't know if I've forgotten how to even think about like, oh, how do I just make this part entertaining anymore? And I need
Yep.
more ways to try and figure that out. Um, but yeah, for all the focusing on business and talking about why games are going to monetize and make money and stuff like that, there's still the core of the game's got to be fun. And I think that's the charm of these 299, 399 games with 300 hours. It's like a little bit of procedural generation. You can still have a fun game. Like games don't have to be these big monolith things, right?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe for another time,
I
talk about
agree.
how fun things are. Calvin, thank you. I will talk to you
Yep.
later.
Always good.